Hi students, I'm here to give you a little walkthrough through your second essay. It will be due on October 7th. That is 2 weeks from this coming Wednesday. So you have 16 days to basically kind of prepare it, think about it. It will be over the illustrations in either Alice in Wonderland, which we've already read, or Wizard of Oz, which we're about to read. If you go on to our page on Blackboard, you'll see there's a link to turn it in. There's the assignment sheet and rubric. There's also several different links to websites which give information about types of illustrations, questions about art which might help you analyze it. There's also a sample essay and some images from that sample essay. And we'll look at the assignment sheet and rubric really quickly. And then we'll look at the sample essay very quickly. And then I want to show you a couple of other features on here as well. So basically, as this points out, children, even before they become verbal, can begin to understand stories told through pictures. And the idea is kind of pictures add value to a text. A text helps you understand it in one way, whereas pictures help you understand it in a different way. What part of what they do when working with the text is they help you interpret it. So you might read about a character, but you might not get a feel for their body language or their facial expressions. So when you see those in pictures, they help to add to your understanding of the text and help you interpret the emotions, the interactions between characters, the size of things, perspective. So there's lots of different things that illustrations can do to create the feel of a book or the kind of the emotional tone it gives off. Think of things like the different colors they use. So what you'll want to do is select a handful of illustrations from an illustrator. They may be from a book or film version or material such as fine art prints. That you feel help exemplify the themes of the book or illustrate the themes of the book in some way, or that help the reader see the text and then do it in a different way. And then you explain how they help the reader see the text in that way. Alternately, students may choose multiple illustrations of the same character or scene and explore different possible ways to interpret it. So look at 5 different illustrations of the White Rabbit, for instance, and talk about how you get a different idea about who the White Rabbit is by looking at different illustrators. After that, you would discuss one illustration per paragraph. The paragraph should describe the illustration style, its content, its features, and then analyze how it relates to the text. One thing to be careful of is to stick only to illustrations related to the text of the book that we're reading in class. As the assignment sheet points out, half of Disney's Alice in Wonderland movie is based on Through the Looking Glass. And some Oz films include parts from the other 16 books in the Oz series. The original Wizard of Oz film is all just the Oz book, but almost every other Oz movie combines multiple Oz books into it. Students will be graded on their ability to not only analyze and interpret pictures, but also for their ability to explain how those pictures communicate information to their audience about the book they're reading. We'll go down and look at the rubric. For purpose is 30 points. The analysis of the illustrations, how well are you able to explain how they interact with the text? That's a big part of it, is being able to explain not only what is shown in the picture, but explain how that expands on the meaning or how it affects the meaning of the text. That's 30 points. Your ability to give a description of the illustrations is 25 points. Close reading and paying attention to the text and using the text to help support your interpretation, that's 25 points. Your ability to correctly choose and cite appropriate sources is 20 points. And finally, grammar, spelling, and mechanics is 20 points. That leads up to 150 points total. The essay should be between 3 and 4 pages in length. Going back to Blackboard now, I'm going to show you guys the sample essay that's up there. Uses some images from Barry Moser's Wizard of Oz, and those are up there on Blackboard as well. So there's the winged monkey, and the spider. So the second essay is about how, in the preface to The Wizard of Oz, L. Frank Baum wrote about how he wanted to create a modernized fairy tale in which the wonderment and joy are retained and the heartaches and nightmares are left out. But one thing you may notice as you read through it is there are several scary parts within the story still. And my thesis is that Barry Moser, the person who drew who did the illustrations that I selected for this sample essay, brings out the scary parts of the book through scary images and scary illustrations. And so I analyze, here's what's going on in the pictures, here's why that's scary. And that sample essay is up there for you guys to peruse and read and kind of serve as an example of what you might be doing, the type of writing you might be doing. If you go to Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and in the Wonderful Wizard of Oz content, currently what's in there is the full color plates from the Wizard of Oz book. You guys have it in black and white. Originally, I think 16 pages were in full color. Each chapter had a different color of one color illustration as well. If you want more information on what colors were used in what chapters, I can provide that for you. This provides links to the 16 full color plates. I will provide more information in this folder as we continue on reading in The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. If you go over to Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, there are several different things. In addition to the article about algebra in Alice in Wonderland, this is The Ugly Duchess, which is a painting that Lewis Carroll showed to John Tenniel and asked him to base the Duchess off of. There's also a link to Lewis Carroll's original manuscript, which is basically the handwritten version of it that Lewis Carroll wrote for Lorena, Alice, and Edith Liddell. There's a link to different web pages which have collections of Alice in Wonderland images. This is someone's personal web page who collected various images from the internet. This is a file which has only the illustrations from Carroll's manuscript. Alice Around the World looks at international editions of the book. Alice at 150 was a traveling exhibition, a traveling gallery on the 150th anniversary of the book, showing different illustrations of it. And this is the website showed the best of the gallery that's available. There's a professional essay on Tenniel's Alice illustrations if you want a secondary source to provide a deeper understanding of those. There's also two folders within here that give special attention to two different illustrators. One is Mervyn Peake, who started illustrating in the 1940s. His illustrations were published in 1954. The article looks at how he was influenced by World War II and how his experience during World War II influenced a lot of his illustrations. I'll just kind of scroll through some of these and you can see how they differ a lot from what we've looked at so far. There's this version of the caterpillar, the Cheshire cat. There's the Cheshire cat at the croquet ground. And there's a scene where Alice plays with the dog after running away from the caterpillar. There's the Duchess throwing the baby in the air. So there's lots of different illustrations. There's the White Rabbit at the trial. There's the Queen of Hearts. So there's lots of different illustrations with a very different style from Tennille's. There's also Camille Rose Garcia's illustrations. I have a folder of those as well. Similar to the article on Mervyn Peaks, I also have an article about Camille Rose Garcia, which talks about what influenced her and includes some interesting quotes from an interview with her, which talk about why she decided to make the illustrations look the way that she did. And several of her illustrations are on here. So for instance, there's the caterpillar, her trying to nurse the baby that turns into the pig, when her neck becomes like a serpent. There's the Mad Hatter, the Tea Party, the Knave of Hearts at the trial. There's the mouse telling its tale. You get all sorts of things, like for instance, here you can see this is the King of Hearts over here. But the way he's presented is very feminine, except for the beard. And interestingly, he's shorter than the Queen of Hearts. So there's all sorts of kind of different things you can interpret there and think about what the different interpretations of why they've been illustrated in this way. Things you can do with color. Here's this picture of Alice. It says, "I know something interesting is sure to happen." And she's holding the gloves in one hand and then drinking the bottle. Looks very dark, very gothic. So there's all sorts of different things you could do to interpret the illustrations and talk about how they would affect how someone would read it and how someone would interpret it. Here we see Alice waking up with an empty bottle, and it says, "Oh, I've had such a curious dream," at the end of the book. And she looks like she almost has fangs there coming out of her mouth. So it's this kind of very dark version of it. So basically that gives you some different things to think about as you read through there. Here she is getting the thimble from the dodo. There's the Cheshire cat. Here she is playing with the dog. So there's all sorts of different illustrations. I tried to include a lot that were illustrations of the same scene also. We looked at the picture of the dog with Mervyn Peaks. There's a picture of it in Tennille, and here's the picture of it in Camille Rose Garcia's. So you've got 3 different illustrations of the same exact scene, all looking extremely different. So hopefully you guys can go through those, think about if you have any ideas of what you might interpret. I'll be putting some more illustrations up of Wizard of Oz as well. If you have any questions over the essay, feel free to post them in the questions discussion forum on the discussion boards, and I'll look forward to answering them. Thank you for your time.